Trimming the garden paths is one of those things that's just as satisfying to watch as it is to do. Probably more, because you can sit inside in the air conditioning as opposed to outside with the hot sun beating down on you. So this was the perfect candidate for a YouTube video, an extended version. So this is the extended cut. It was longer than this, but I didn't think anybody wanted to watch a 45-minute video of me trimming the garden paths. And yes, that's approximately how long it takes to trim these paths. So why do I do it? Why don't I put down some sort of mulch? I've talked about this before. I used to do it, and I found that the time and energy that went into maintaining that, and I had to be careful not to drop any soil down when I weeded my garden beds, because then it would defeat the purpose and weeds would grow in the paths. It was just so much energy. I found it just easier for me to trim the paths every 2 to 3 weeks or so, and then I can work in the garden without the weeds being tall and bothering me. So after I did that, I noticed a huge side benefit that I didn't realize was coming, but I should have, because the rest of my yard is not planted in grass. I think grass lawns are just a waste of space. Personally, we just let things grow wild. We did some construction before we moved in, and it was just bare dirt, and we let everything grow wild. We ended up with clover and all kinds of other wild plants and flowers, and our yard is full of pollinators. If you walk and you look down, you can just stop and look and watch the bumblebees and even some honeybees, even though I no longer have honeybees right now because our honeybees didn't make it through the winter. Someone else in the area's honeybees like to come to our yard, and the tiny little native bees and butterflies, some beautiful butterflies recently, just buzzing around my yard because it's the place to be. It's basically a giant pollinator garden. So when I let the garden paths go a little, I noticed that the pollinators just were coming into the garden. You know, a lot of people plant special pollinator gardens or borders of flowers to bring the bees into their gardens, and I didn't need to do that. All I needed to do was just let go a little bit and let my paths grow, and they came. Now, when I trim, I am careful. I watch if there's any pollinators and not to hurt any of them, and there are still plenty of flowers under the level. I'm not trimming it perfectly close to the ground, just enough that I can get in there and work without these big tall weeds in my way. One of these days I have to give some videos of those little pollinators.